Sharing your big ideas and insights on Twitter without leaving your workspace in Notion just got even easier with Zapier. In this video, we're walking through how to publish to Twitter when you add a new row in a Notion database. Why is that helpful? If you're managing knowledge, writing, or researching using Notion, all of your valuable information and knowledge is stored there. We've all been sucked down the Twitter rabbit hole at some point into some wonderfully distracting place. This integration will allow you to quickly publish when you notice something surprising, interesting, or useful that you want to share with a Twitter audience directly from Notion. Before diving in, there are some limitations I should warn you about. You won't be able to tag friends or other accounts due to Twitter's privacy policy regarding automation tools. Secondly, you can only publish single tweets from Notion and not tweet threads. If that still sounds useful to you, let's get into building this automation.
Welcome to my Notion workspace. It's really helpful to have three things really close to hand when you start setting things up. The first thing is obviously your Notion workspace. The second thing will be a new tab open with Zapier and also a tab with Twitter somewhere nearby. What's going to happen is that things will be published to my timeline. This is me, hi me, and that will happen from Notion. So to set things up, we're going to start in Notion and then create the Zap in Zapier. First, a little rundown of what's going on here in this database. This database basically has two columns. The first is the content, which is this is a test tweet sent from Notion using Zapier, and also this created date, which is the created time property in Notion. This is just so I can keep track of when I posted things. To set up the integration on Notion's side, hit the Settings and Members button, Integrations, and then develop your own integrations. That will pop up this page where you can select Create New Integration and give it a new meaningful name. So Twitter from Notion. If you're creating loads of integrations, it might be helpful to have a logo so you can distinguish them and make sure that you have the right associated workspace selected, and then hit Submit. This will generate an internal integration token. We're going to need this later, so keep this page open, and for now, just hit Save Changes. Come back into Notion and don't miss this step. Go into Open as Page and share this with that integration that you just made, which is Twitter from Notion. This is kind of similar to inviting your friends to work in Notion workspaces, but instead of your friends, we're inviting the integration to have access to this page. Great, we're all set up on Notion's side. Moving over to Zapier. In Zapier, I've already created this integration before, so I'm going to show you what that looks like so you get an overview, and then we'll go and create it from scratch. What's going on here is that the trigger is a new database row in Notion, then it's going into a text formatter and reducing the amount of characters to 280 because that's the most that you can publish in Twitter, and then we're finally publishing to Twitter. If you head back to your dashboard, hit Create Zap. Let's give it a meaningful name, so publish to Twitter from Notion, and select the trigger to be Notion. The trigger event is a new database item, then select Continue, and now we're going to need to sign in with Notion. So hit that button there, and you'll get this little pop-up. This pop-up wants the internal integration token that I created earlier, so keep it handy somewhere and go back to the My Integrations page. Hit Show and copy, and then go back to that pop-up and paste it right there. Checking back in Zapier, everything looks good. Hit Continue. Now I need to select the database that I want to access, and this is the Tweet Launchpad from Notion. As you can see, the title should match what you named the database here, which is Tweet Launchpad for me. Make sure that if this step isn't working, then you've likely forgotten that you need to share this database. So if you open that as a page, hit Share, then select here or Invite. You need to select the bot that you just created in the Settings and Members page. Back in Zapier, all is well, and I hit Continue. And then I need to test the trigger to see what information is coming off of that database. Here you can see everything is going swimmingly, and I can see the content. This is a test tweet sent from Notion using Zapier. Hit Continue. Now let's do some formatting. Twitter doesn't like anything that's more than 280 characters, so we're going to need to format it. Let's use the Zapier format. The action event is text, and hit Continue. And the transformation that we want is to truncate it. Truncation limits your text to a specific character length and deletes anything that's over that. So let's do that to the stuff that's coming off of Notion. The input, if you can find it with the show all, is actually the tweet content there. Select that and change the maximum length to 280. Change this setting to true and then hit continue. Let's test that and continue. Green light. Next, we need to set up the final step, which is to publish to Twitter. In this action step, select Twitter. The action event will be create a tweet. And the account, you may need to sign in, but I'm already signed in, so go ahead and do that. And now we need to set up what the content of the tweet will be. Here in this message box, it's going to be tempting to select the Notion information, but we actually want the truncated text coming off of the formatter. So select that and clicking Properties, Tweet Content. If you're feeling fancy, you can add an image, video, or GIF, but for now, we're not going to do that. This setting here should shorten URLs. We'll basically turn all the URLs into something which doesn't look like the pretty one in your browser. If you want to shorten the URLs, say yes. If you like the pretty URLs, then say no, and then hit continue. And here we are at the final stage. We're going to see if this message, which says this is a test tweet sent from Notion using Zapier, will post to my Twitter profile. Let's test it and continue. A tweet was sent to Twitter just now. Let's check if that's real. And there you go. This is a test tweet sent from Notion using Zapier. That test seemed to work, so let's turn on the Zap. And you'll notice that this will flash and then be on in the top right corner. Magic.
And that's how you publish to Twitter from Notion using Zapier. If you have any questions about this integration, then comment below and one of the lovely team from Zapier will be right with you. If you want to reach out to me about how to get the most out of Notion, then you can reach out via Edu-Creator.com. That's edu-creator.com. Or visit my YouTube channel by searching Serge Hunt and watching some of my Notion tutorials. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button below, and if you're new to this channel and like this kind of content, then consider hitting the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.